Welcome to LMC Media and a special presentation on the historic murals. I'm Michael Witsch, and with me is Gail Boyle, who's a member of the Mamaroneck Historical Society, and John Pritts, the village historian in Mamaroneck Village.
And also a member of the Historical Society.
That's true. This presentation was originally made at the Mamaroneck Women's Club.
Right.
Okay, and its purpose is to update the community on these murals that have been for a long time at Mamaroneck High School and were recently removed and are saved and are looking for a new home. Okay.
That's true.
Gail, let's start the slideshow.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
When we were asked to do a presentation to our membership about where are we now with the murals moving forward, we realized that it was important to give an understanding of where we had been, because all of the decisions that were previously made impact where we're going forward. So we start right in the cafeteria where the murals are originally placed. You know, we're taking a little trip back in history here. This is the 8 murals that you will eventually get to see all of them, but right now you can see 4 on the wall in the back of the cafeteria. This is a photo from 1970 when the room was still being used as a cafeteria. And if you look closely, you can see one of the murals, the second from the left, has a box in it there, and that we're going to look at a little bit more closely. And this photo was taken by a professional photographer, Charles Seaton. And this is a close look of the framed piece within that painting. And this is the story about the installation of the murals in the school cafeteria. The murals were painted by artists that were commissioned from the Yale College School of Fine Art. And the scenes that they painted, according to the write-up, were chosen by the high school students. The students read the Leatherstocking Tale books by James Fenimore Cooper. And it says in quotes, "These James Fenimore Cooper mural paintings commemorate the ties of this typically American author to the Mamaroneck community." So clearly, the school took great pride in the fact that James Fenimore Cooper married a local woman, Susan Delancey, and did quite a bit of writing while living here in Mamaroneck. The Mamaroneck High School, junior high school students read 5 of Cooper's novels known as the Leatherstocking Tales, and the students identified a climactic scene from each novel, and the 5 artists painted it's a one-of-a-kind painting from each book there. And so once again, the photographer Charles Seaton, our volunteer, took the following high-resolution photos of each of the paintings in 2021. And I point that out because the first step in preservation is you get a good photograph. I didn't do that one yet.
Yeah.
So this is the shooting match. It's 8 foot by 8 foot, and it's from the book The Pathfinder. And just to clarify, a mural is defined as a large painting on a wall, and all of the murals at Mamaroneck High School are painted on canvas and then glued to the wall. So we're saying mural, but they're paintings. This painting is from the book The Pioneers, and it's called The Dispute. This is a beautiful painting, 8 foot by 12 foot.
Wow.
Right?
Big size.
Big size. Another Leatherstocking Tale book is this one from The Last of the Mohicans, and it's called The Defense of the Rock, and this one is 8 foot by 10 foot. Another mural called The Prairie, the book The Prairie, and the mural is called Leaving the Trapper, and it's 8 foot by 8 foot. This is from the book The Deer Slayer, and it's 8 foot by 11 foot, and it's called Ambushing the Ark.
And this is my favorite.
It's a toss-up. In addition to the 5 Leatherstocking Tale murals, there are 3 additional murals. The 6th artist painted all 3 of them, and it was a young woman who went to Mamaroneck High School, graduated from Mamaroneck High School, and her name is Mimi Genuine. Mimi painted the 3 murals that are focused on James Fenimore Cooper's life. So here's the first one 5 foot by 8 foot, and it's called James Fenimore Cooper, the premier American romantic writer. The second painting that Mimi painted is 8 foot by 10 foot, and this is James Fenimore Cooper's marriage to Susan Delancey of Mamaroneck in 1811. And again, Mimi Genuine's last painting is 8 foot by 8 foot, and this speaks to the James Fenimore Cooper correspondences, journeys, and influences on his writing. These 3 murals were installed on the opposite wall of the cafeteria from the leather stocking tales. So you can kind of get a sense of the cafeteria floor plan there and the placement of the murals.
That's a good question. That's one what I would ask. Why do we remove the murals? Why can't they stay?
That was our question. The school district obviously is always planning forward in terms of what kind of instructional space. Can you move back? What kind of instructional space they need, and apparently they needed to rearrange where they were at that point in time, and this is their construction plan, and the impact of construction on each of the murals is evident. The district came to us and shared with us at the Mamaroneck Historical Society the plan that might interfere with the murals remaining on the wall, and we asked that they revise the construction plan, and apparently it was not able to be revised, and so 6 of the murals were destined to be covered by walls, and 2 of the murals would be destroyed.
Really?
So the question became, should we remove the murals? Obviously, the Historical Society wanted the school district to rearrange the plan, but in the interim, the school district did a art conservation report by a professional group, and they shared with us the plan, indicating the approximate cost of the mural and also some of the issues with the paintings. Besides the food debris, that's from what I understand, you had food fights?
We had food fights
I don't believe
in
it,
junior
but-
high school. Oh, well, no, you wouldn't believe some of the food fights we had.
It was,
And we were only one class.
okay, well, it was pointed out by the art conservation company that the murals were very dirty. Besides the food debris, there was a great deal of wear and tear of the paintings. They'd also been painted over at one point by polyurethane, which is a big no-no in the restoration world.
And some amateurish repairs were also done.
Yeah, there were some repairs and also some graffiti. So you had a range of issues, but the question was, should we remove the murals? So obviously this took place during COVID. And
Boy, that was unfortunate.
It was a real unfortunate timing. And what we did was we set up a Zoom meeting, invited all of the leadership, folks in the 3 municipalities of the district. So we had the village of Larchmont, village of Mamaroneck, and the township of Mamaroneck.
And all schools.
And we invited all the schools, we invited the library leadership, and also it was a good group meeting.
I mean, anyone who had a stake.
Anyone who had a
in
stake or an
these murals.
interest.
Or an interest or a possible solution.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we came up with a solution in that meeting to answer the question, should we remove the murals? Each of the townships and villages agreed that they would reinstall the murals in public property.
Oh, wow.
And so the question became, for the Mamaroneck Historical Society Board, should we remove the murals? I mean, obviously, I guess what we banked on at that point was literally if the community wanted the murals removed, they would make the necessary donations to cover the cost of removal, and that would be our answer. If we initiated fundraising and the answer was don't
If you
take
didn't
them
get
down,
the money, right.
then that was the answer. So guess what? The community was absolutely passionate about saving the murals.
Yep.
And enough money was donated to remove them from the walls of Mamaroneck High School.
Wow.
So unfortunately, though, there was an extremely tight timeline. So despite the timeline, the Mamaroneck Historical Society agreed to move forward with the project and saved the James Fenimore Cooper murals. So the biggest trick was, first of all, that the murals had to be removed or taken off the walls between 3 p.m. and midnight. They could not be done during the day due to the fact that they're painted on canvas and glued to the walls with lead-based glue.
Oh.
And the paint on the walls was also lead.
So we had a real issue. So obviously what you can see from these photos, each mural had to be encapsulated in heavy plastic, and the surrounding air then was sucked out of the room and filtered out of the windows.
Wow.
After school hours.
It was a big operation, and the people that we hired to do it were terrific.
I mean, some people know that kind of preparation for asbestos, but it's true
the
for
same.
lead
It's
as
the
well.
same.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
the same.
It's negative atmosphere draws out the air.
The thing is, though, we thought, oh boy, we're going to start taking down the murals. Well, first you had to spend days encapsulating each of the spaces, building a tent around them. And then in the second photo that you can see here, once they were encapsulated, the murals had to be covered with a protective film before removing them from the wall. And so we drove down to Brooklyn and bought all the materials from the, art supply place, and they had to be painted on. And then each mural, obviously, the painting had to be removed by hand. It took 3 people simultaneously working underneath the mural, scraping it off, scraping the glue off. And then they are rolled up simultaneously on a 3-foot diameter by 12-foot long, what's called a sonotube. And obviously, since we were working on a tight timeline, due to the scheduled start of construction, the crews were in on Saturdays as well.
And that got expensive.
Oh, it added to the cost, but we said we were going to do it, and then once you start, the goal was to get as many as we could within the timeline. So after you roll these things up on a tube, you can see here now the mural is then moved to another large space where the floor is covered and dust-free, and it's unrolled and then re-rolled on the sonotube. And so as you can see, this is a lot of handling for some very delicate paintings. This is actually the painting that you're seeing where the sign was cut into the middle. And you can also see the tears on the mural, on the canvas itself. So this is what we were learning as the murals were coming down.
And notice, too, the respirators that each person has,
Yes.
gloves and hazmat suits
Yes.
because of the lead.
Were any of the school personnel involved in removing?
Not in the actual removal process. We worked with the director of facilities, and he was extremely helpful and extremely cooperative once we got a plan in place. And so we got the custodial staff and everybody to, back
Great.
whatever we needed. Yeah.
Great.
But he was the sole person really that we communicated with. You can see then the tubes had to then be wrapped up in these heavy plastics to protect them and raised up on these, little racks so that they didn't touch the floor or touch each other. And the tube,
Protect the paint.
to protect the paint. So everything you can do to not touch the paint. The tubes then had to be transported to a warehouse, and that's where the community once again stepped to the plate. The Murphy brothers donated the warehouse for the safe spot to leave the murals, and they also transported the murals to the warehouse. So in the end, we were able to remove 7 of the 8 murals. The 8th mural that we left behind, though, we covered it. We painted over it with that protective sheeting. It was covered with plexiglass and, plywood?
Plywood.
And then it is now built behind a wall. So we're hoping that it wasn't destroyed with the wall covering it, but we had to leave that behind.
And that's Michael Murphy
That's
Yes.
Michael.
up there in the top.
And Gail.
And Gail.
Right,
yeah.
right. So
I was taking the picture.
He was taking the picture. So obviously what we did at the warehouse after getting the murals there was we unrolled them one at a time and started organizing for the art conservation companies to come and give us some assessments. And I guess what we're doing there, is repainting. We had when
Yes.
we unrolled them, our art consultant told us we had to recover them with this specialized paper. So John ran to Stop and Shop and got what did we use?
I don't remember
Some
what
kind
it's
of
called.
whatever the products, the art experts
It was
tell you.
basically gelatin.
Basically gelatin. We
Really?
repainted
Right,
on.
Jello. We painted Jello onto the.
Yeah, with this special nori paste, and we had this special paper on there. Anyway, we learned so much during this process, and our goal was to get at least 3 assessments done on the murals in terms of condition and in terms of price, so that we could come up with a plan. And all of the companies that we had for the assessments, we had prior contact with. They assisted us with advice during the removal process. And each company that we brought in for the assessments had significant experience restoring murals, from the WPA era, which these murals were, the 1940s. And also, you had to find companies that could handle murals of this size. There are places that would not even be possible. This is the art conservation person from Evergreen Restoration, and she's viewing one of the murals.
At Murphy Brothers.
At Murphy Brothers. And obviously, we also knew that when some of the murals were rolled onto the sonotubes, we observed that the canvas was damaged. The walls, the paintings were not flat surfaces. So obviously, they were with a mottled plaster. In some spots, the glue was much deeper and more condensed. So while hand scraping of the adhesive, there would be areas that were harder to get the glue off.
Right, and this is looking at the back of one of the murals.
Yeah, it's the
All
back.
right, and you can see the damage that the canvas went through.
Mainly also, I think, because I guess the art conservationist told us they were totally dried out, so
Right.
there was that issue
Right,
too.
right.
And so, whatever. This is what we discovered. And obviously, we were also able to see through the special pasted paintings we had done there with the special paper, that despite the protective layer and the rolling on the big tubes, there was loss of paint on some paintings, far more than on others.
Right.
And we learned from our art conservation assessments that it depends. Each painter does their thing their own way. So some would have multiple layers of paint, and others would have just one layer of paint. And so you couldn't predict which mural would be more impacted.
And they also said that they use different paint.
That's true. Different paints. So, 6 different artists, 6 different approaches. So 6 different surprises when we unrolled the murals. But we were assured by every art conservation company that all of them could be restored, all could be repaired and reinstalled out in the community. It would just involve more effort, more expertise, and of course, cost.
If you want to get it done, we can get it done.
Right.
But it's going to cost you.
You just
Right.
need the money, yes.
So we did make a decision then to unroll all 7 of them and have a company look at all 7 and give us sort of a sense of what would be the long-term goal and the big picture look at things. And again, we had 3 assessments. It cost quite a few $1,000s per company to get those assessments, and we felt it was worth it because we're able to now step back and say, here's the short-term goal, here's our longer-term goal, and this is what it will take.
And what was really good about getting the 3 opinions also was getting 3 different perspectives of
Right.
what was necessary, what was important, what was possible. They were all very good.
Yeah. We ended up actually, no, go back, please.
I'm sorry.
We ended up actually going with, no, you can go ahead. We ended up going with the company that, believe it or not, one of the owners went to Mamaroneck High School.
Really?
That was purely coincidental. And they had been very helpful to us, both in the removal process and whatever. So, go ahead. I just want to say, though, we had already met with each of the mayors and the supervisor prior to this, in that we had gone to the sites that they recommended where murals could be installed. And we had to really be very thoughtful about which site one might choose because of the size of the murals and where could you get this size mural into a space. You know, is the door big enough? Is there a ramp? They're heavy to carry. Is it above ground? Is it, you know, all of the issues that had to be looked at. And so this is the Lowy company. It's called Lowy 1907. And this is the company that we ended up going with for the first mural restoration. So the mural we selected, despite all of these challenges for restoration, is from the Leatherstocking Tales series. And this is the scene from the book, The Last of the Mohicans. And we were pretty certain that many of you have read or heard or seen the story, as it has been made into a movie multiple times. And so then we chose this one also because people could identify with it, but also it's easy to install because it's in a very nice, historic, wide open building. And go ahead. It's the Mamaroneck Playhouse. So obviously the Playhouse opened in 1925 and it's been recently restored. And we figured what better setting for the Last of the Mohicans mural.
And what a coincidence that our studio is in the same building.
I was waiting for you to say that, Mike. We are sitting here, and the restoration and the inclusion of the LMC studio is a very powerful message.
I'm sure LMC Media has found the Elgerts as cooperative and helpful as we did.
I can attest to that.
So obviously, here's the original theater. The massive main theater has been cut into smaller theaters. But the lobby itself hasn't changed, and that's where the mural will be installed. The new theater owners, the Elgart family, attended to historic detail in their renovation of the theater, maintaining as high, of the amount of the original detail as they could. They have like the original railings and brick throughout. And this is the location in the lobby where the Last of the Mohicans will be installed. It's to the left of the concession, and you can see that black area there above the brick area. This lobby is accessible to the public. If you are not coming in to see a movie, you can still come in to the lobby and take a tour around. You could even stop by LMC and see the studio here. And we anticipate that the conservators will be ready to install the mural in the very near future. And the good news is they can access it easily through a long ramp up the back. And then they will stretch and frame the mural on the floor of the lobby. And then they will install scaffolding or set up the scaffolding to install it up above there. And we're thrilled that the Elgart family, who are the owners of the theater, are thrilled to host the painting for our community. And they're going to work with us, the Mamaroneck Historical Society, to sponsor some interesting events there.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
And they're also going to light it, right, to basically focus on it.
So, again, this is the painting, and I can imagine it now up in that space. And hopefully one night when we go to watch a movie, whether...
It'll be there.
It will be there.
Will there be some kind of explanation at the eye level about what people can see up there?
Yes. We actually have a person who is helping us put together that information, and we'll give you background information on the artist and the scene that is depicted in the painting and the kind of the history behind it.
Wonderful.
So we're not sure yet how that's going to be done. We're doing a soft installation for this first one to sort of get the feeling, and then we'll get the lighting and the signage done. It might be by a QR code.
Yes.
Maybe just a brief summary, but then a link to more in-depth information. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
So as far as restoration, this is a photo of the mural on the day it arrived at the restoration studio in Long Island City. So that same painting, this is what they received.
Wow.
And now this is a photo of the mural after they cleaned it and after they removed the lead from the back of it, and the canvas has been stabilized. I think they essentially put up a new canvas on the back.
And if you notice all the white spots there,
Yes.
that's missing paint.
Really?
Yeah, that's the missing paint. So the challenge was, as we mentioned before, Charles Seaton had taken the high-resolution photos of the murals while they were on the wall. And even though there was a lot of damage, he kind of brought them up to a level of what they might look like when restored. And so we were able to send to Lowy 1907, the company. We were able to get to them the photos taken by Charles, which, as we pointed out, is the first step in restoration. And so the artists are able to recreate the actual paint color and style of painting.
He did such a good job with the resolution. They could see the brush strokes
Really?
of the painters, which helped, according to Lowy, tremendously.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a learning process for us, and we're hoping that this is a bit of a learning process for the community as well, in terms of, yes, we saved the murals, but now getting them out into the community is a laborious but very positive experience, I think, for the community as a whole once they see the first one.
Yep.
John, you want to talk about these photos? These are some additional photos of...
Well, these, again, came from the conservators at different stages of repair. It's all a work where the artists that are doing the repairs are filling in the blanks and highlighting what the original artist intended us to see. So you can see
Yeah, very exciting.
how detailed the painting is, first of all.
And this is a segment of the painting.
Segment, I'm showing you different segments of the painting. It's detailed work.
Yes.
So we were very fortunate to have a Mamaroneck High School graduate. Oh, he didn't graduate from Mamaroneck High School. He attended Mamaroneck High School.
Right.
Feel as passionate about getting them restored, and obviously we've only contracted for this one mural thus far. And so that gets us to our next steps. I hope by taking a look back, you have a better understanding of the complexity of moving forward. And so our goal, as far as the Mamaroneck Historical Society, is to bring in and sort of assemble a side team, a kind of a Save the Murals steering committee.
Yeah.
We obviously need some folks to help plan for the restoration of the murals. We're hoping people will step forward and share their expertise. Obviously, there's certain kinds of expertise that would be very helpful in terms of people who can write grants. We're very excited about a grant we're working with Steve Otis's office on a grant that might be available soon. And so if people will help us and join the effort, here's all our contact information.
Okay.
And you want to go to the next one? Yeah?
Yep.
So the big question is, okay, what mural is next? Our plan, we hope, fingers crossed, that the next mural will be our local artist, our graduate of Mamaroneck High School, Mimi Genuine. And this is her painting of James Fenimore Cooper's marriage to Susan Delancey. And the Mamaroneck Town Center is where this painting will go. And they've
great.
already prepared the wall, so we really want to get moving on this one. The supervisors had the wall repainted. So it's a blank spot where, boom, right in the middle, it will go into the courtroom.
That's wonderful. Now, there is a mural there.
Yes, on one wall. This is on the opposite wall.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And just so you know, Mimi Genuine moved back to Mamaroneck and Larchmont. Her kids went to school in Mamaroneck High School,
Really?
right, and was able to see her work,
Yes.
Wow.
which I thought, and she was also an art teacher locally. She taught a lot of people painting as a side gig, if you will, in Larchmont.
Wow. Nice.
So
Nice.
we've already started putting together the information on Mimi Genowine, and we're actually in contact with 2 of her children. So anyway, it's interesting, all the places it's led us, and obviously we want to share the wealth. We want to have people come forward who have that passion. We need assistance with planning for the next 6 murals. So hope you'll
Good.
join us.
And here they are.
Here they are. Guess what? We moved. John, where are they?
They're on Waverly Avenue still, all right? TJ Milo donated a space right down the street from Murphy Brothers.
Okay.
They are safe. They're not in any flood damage area concern. And we thank Mr. Milo tremendously for allowing us to do this. And what's interesting is the first one on the left, that's Mimi's.
Oh, really?
We've got,
Ready to
hopefully
go.
we've got them in order so that we can very easily start the next one.
Wow.
Yeah. We had to move them, though. I think many people know that the Murphy brothers are initiating some construction of their warehouse area there.
They're tearing it down now.
Yeah, it's in process.
It's in
So we didn't want
process.
people know that Murphy Brothers stepped to the plate and have housed the murals and transported them. So we just want to reassure everybody that moving forward, they are still supporting us, but the murals are resting elsewhere.
And,
Good.
you know, I can't say enough about Chris and Mike Murphy
Yeah.
and Murphy Brothers, how much help they have given us.
Yeah.
Terrific.
So that's it.
Is that the last picture?
I think so.
Yep.
That's it.
When you showed this at the Mamaroneck Women's Center,
Yes.
there was an audience,
Oh, yeah.
and they had some questions.
Did.
What were some of them that you'd like to answer now?
The main thing I was really impressed by, there were questions from just all sorts of people, from kids who were there to Historical Society board members. I mean, I think what we learned is that it's the story that where we started from and where we are now that people need to embrace to understand how complicated it is and how many years it will take, most likely, to move forward, but that it is happening. And so people asked, what's the next mural? And, you know, what happened to the mural that we didn't take down?
Yeah.
They-
Which you explained
yeah,
earlier.
they wanted to know more about it. And I think they wanted to know which of the 2 murals would have been destroyed if we didn't take them down, because they were on walls that were coming down.
Near doorways.
Yeah.
The
I see.
doorways
They
were
created-
being opened up and the wall was being removed. So they were coming down.
Have you found any potential sites in Larchmont?
Larchmont's still unresolved in terms of a firm site. We had projected that it would be in the community center, and the community center is not necessarily going to be the right place for it, apparently. We're still a little confused by, you know, why not? I guess the community center is run by the library board.
Okay.
In terms of space.
Yeah.
And at this point, the libraries are not looking to install a mural in either the Mamaroneck or the Larchmont Library. You know what? That's a question that we, you know, can pursue again. There's nothing firm on any of the sites. You know, it's projected sites.
What about the schools?
Again, the schools said no. I don't know if it's a closed no. Did we pursue it with the private schools? No.
And Mamaroneck we got the same response.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But again, I guess what
You
we
think it's
learned
because
is,
they don't have a space big enough, or they're afraid of the liability of any damage to a restored mural?
you know, we really didn't. When someone said no, we respected it and
Sure.
and moved on.
Right.
You know, and felt that we had enough potential spaces, which we do. They may not be ideal spaces, but I for myself, the part that's hard is that when you were in the cafeteria, you had the pleasure of eating your lunch there, right?
Yes, I was a teacher there.
There were 5 murals across the back wall of a very large cafeteria. And they all stood together and hung together. And together they tell the story of the wilderness and the people who lived in the wilderness of upstate New York and this area as well. And the trials and tribulations that each of the groups went through, from Native Americans to colonists to slaves, enslaved people or free people, we're not sure.
And all of those interactions,
Yeah.
right? You know, one thing James Fenimore Cooper was huge in is that connection,
Yeah.
all right? And
And of course, there's a restaurant now at the corner of Boston Post
Yes.
Road and Fenimore. Well, not quite at the corner, but a little bit in.
Yes,
Which is where he was married.
right.
yes.
Yeah.
And so again, we still feel he's very significant to the community. The fact that the murals are split up, though, it's harder to kind of get a sense of, you know, context when you've got one mural in one setting versus all 5 telling the whole story.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes.
we certainly understand that people have to be sensitive to where they place it.
I think both of you were complimented. I've heard compliments outside the presentation about all the work you put in, and we see you there on your knees at somewhere in the middle of the night. That picture showed, and you took the picture, allegedly.
Actually, it was in the morning early.
But you've obviously spent hours and hours on this.
Yes.
So you're looking for volunteers, especially those who have some expertise. But what about donations? Small donations, large donations, everything in between?
Well, one of the volunteers or types of volunteers we're looking for are people who have expertise in raising funds. We kind of used, I think, pretty much a lot of our toolkit in that department, and certainly will continue along that way. But we know that there are people that have ideas and expertise in how one might arrange fundraising moving forward. So that's a big piece. I really feel very strongly that we are eligible for grants. We just need somebody that's going to get on top of that and see it from start to finish in terms of whatever process for a grant is.
Is there a potential for like a GoFundMe site where people can make small donations that will add up?
We will be reactivating our GoFundMe site as soon as the first mural is installed, as soon as obviously the Playhouse opens up with the Last of the Mohicans mural there. We will then invite people into the conversation, and we'll throw an event to kind of initiate that conversation, and then yes, we will relaunch the GoFundMe site is still there,
Right.
but we haven't updated where we are in the process on that site yet and what additional funds we'll pay for now. We have enough funds now to pay for Last of the Mohicans. That mural is paid for. Restoration, installation, transportation, all of the above. But we don't have enough funds to pay for Mimi Genowine's restoration of her mural. And so the next fundraising will be for that mural.
Great. Is there anything else you'd like the community to know at this point?
I would only say that I think this is a wonderful community thing, all right? This is something that started with the PTA and junior high school students in the 1930s. They put it all together. They came up with the ideas. They came up with the money to install them, all right? We need the community to sort of step up and realize that this is a community thing, all right? And, help having us put more murals in the community. Keep them here. They're part of Mamaroneck.
Well,
They're
we
part
have
of
the
Larchmont.
outdoor murals that went up some years ago
Yeah.
in Larchmont and Mamaroneck.
Yeah,
Yep.
we did the Mamaroneck ones, the Historical Society.
Yeah.
And, people have mixed feelings about murals, but that's what I think is the best part of public art. It gets people talking.
Yep.
What's that about? What's the story of that? I like that. I don't like that. It's
Yep.
you know, and it's
Absolutely right.
and honestly, your point, the story behind the community coming together in 1935 to get this done is something I think we should honor and find
And remember.
and remember, and get
Well-
those murals out in the community somewhere.
On that note, thank you very much, Gail Boyle and
you.
John Pritts.
Mike, thank you.
You're welcome. And glad LMC could help present this slideshow again, and hope that the community responds as the Historical Society hopes.
Well, thank
And
you.
thanks for watching. And if you're interested in helping out or volunteering or donating, again, the best place is, John, is it the Gmail account?
Yes,
Okay.
it's mamaroneckhistory@gmail.com.
Mamaroneckhistory@gmail.com.
That's it.
Thank you both again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.